Hello, welcome to a new game called Cave Crawler, released in 2023 by Technomancy Studios, which is a Florida-based company. Basically sells around $2.95. So we're going to do a deep dive into this. If you want to buy it for yourself, by all means go buy it. If not, grab some popcorn and let's get into it. As you can see, the controls are a little bit complicated, but Cave Crawler. After acquiring mining rights to the area in 1992, Rotwell Mining Group was alerted by local park and forest services to a missing persons report near the entrance to the company property. The following footage showcases the use of the Cave Crawler, a newly patented survey drone developed by RMG. So Cave Crawler Program 1.2, as you can see, we have to find a missing person. We're at the depth of 146 meters. I'm just looking back to show you where we've come from. I'm going to splice this with other footage as well. So we came from there. Which ruins the immersion. So a real drone nowadays would look something like this. So this is a tethered drone by an optic fiber cable being released down into a pit. It would be cool if the game looked something like this. That would just increase the immersion. But however, this game is based off a web series, so it's purposely designed to look the way it does. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. You can get fully automated drones nowadays. They would use flying drones. Even the flying drones are a lot more complicated. So this is the latest in cave drone technology. Basically, it can fly, plus the roll cage allows it to land and just roll around everywhere. I think it's even waterproof, so you can even put it in water if you want. So this is sort of what it is, but the timestamp of the game we're playing is 1992, so the drone looks more like a bomb disposal unit. But anyway, as I said, this was based off a web series, so there's a web series called Gemini Home Entertainment, which is done by Remy Abode, and this is based off that, especially the video in that web series called Advanced Mining Equipment. So essentially, it's kind of like a false premise that we're actually looking for a body. That's not what this game is really about. On the right there, you'll get a couple of noises, which sounds like wood crawlers, or the scrawling of wood crawlers, or gardeners. We'll talk about that in a sec. So if we scan here, we find there's no DNA left on the boot, which wouldn't be the case if someone's wearing it. We can also see that there's no scuffle or fight mark, so it's unlikely the missing person was attacked here. The missing person is out on the right tunnel, so down there, so whoever came across the dead body grabbed the boot, sucked all the DNA off it, and keep going. Maybe we spooked it because they heard us coming. It's probably recently been sucked dry of DNA, and as I said, it's based off Gemini Home Entertainment, which is all about a planet, a biological planet that appeared in our solar system and has the ability to transform, mutate other planets and moons, and that's what it's got its plan for the planet Earth. Now, one of its main ways of invasion is through creatures called gardeners, which set up deep inside the Earth, terraform the insides of the Earth, so that it can make it a home for the iris itself to eat away from the inside. If we scroll over here, we're going to come across our first. Now, people say this is people describe this as the souls of the rock mining group, that is so far does not give it justice whatsoever. So there was some motion over there, and it's true there's a ravine between us and some whatever it is floated over there. People call it the silhouette people. We're going to see it in full detail a little bit later. I call them silhouette puppets because they're really puppets of the core, which, as we will soon see, might be the iris itself. We're not really sure, but we do come across the core that is puppeteering everything here. Now, there's a secret ending here, so there's kind of 5 motion detections that if you come across, there's 4 levels, and if you come across the 5 motion detections, you're given an extra page of text which expands on that lore. And so we've got from the first motion 4F on the bottom left there, and that translates in hexadecimal code, that's an empty room over there, as O. So having to find 5 motion detections, each one of them will send a message through into the drone. So that tells me that it's telling us where. It seems to be not iris related, but also the fact that the consciousness of the people that have been attacked has been absorbed into these silhouette puppets. So we come across a torch here that was from the victim. Back in 1992, I guess batteries only lasted for about 2 hours. So evidently trying to get away from whatever it is the guy was trying to get away from, he drops the torch. So, but the missing body isn't really, it's basically what we find alongside the missing body which drives the story forward. Now, some people state that this first level is inspired by the Nutty Putty incident. I don't really see that, but the moral of that story and this little section here, maybe. So this is an unauthorized excavation tunnel, which would make you wonder, how do you get something unauthorized? So 2009, there was a 26-year-old man called John Jones, and he went into a cave and was pronounced dead 27 hours later. Probably he died a little bit before then. That was when he was officially died. But he was trying to get to a section of the cave that he'd never been to before, as the birth canal, which is a really tight squeeze. But instead he was lost and he went down another tunnel called Ed Push. But believing he was in the birth canal, he kept going. But eventually he was trapped upside down and he died a horrible death. He received cardiac. So this is the cave. It's now, you can no longer get to it. They've closed it off. The body still is inside that cave. You had the big slide, which was the slide which ended with a 20-foot drop. And then it came around and there was the birth canal here where you could stand around and turn around if you want. But he went down this way, which was Ed Push, and mistakenly thought that was. So again, using a different map to help you out here so you can understand. So the entrance, and then he went down the birth canal. This one. He was hoping to go and turn around there. That's where he thought, but instead he went down the wrong tunnel and he went down into an area where no one had been before. So in that tunnel, there's this place called the Corkscrew, and no one had ever been past the Corkscrew, which is there. So all the rest of the tunnel was unexplored after that, because you have to be a certain height and a certain weight to get past the Corkscrew. And even though he was higher than the required weight and height, he still pushed forward and somehow got through there. But he passed the point of no return. He couldn't reverse. There was no way back. And he did that because he thought there was this an area where... So there's the corkscrew. Once you pass there, you can't get back. That's where you need to turn around. And that was unexplored, but he kept going. And unfortunately, instead of coming across a place where he could turn around, instead he came across a sort of a dead end, which ended up with him on a 70-degree slope downwards. So they tried to get him out. They tried to get a pulley system, but the Nutty Putty Cave is called that because the clay and the pulley broke and sent him further down. And they thought about breaking his legs so that they could get him out, but they couldn't, and he died like that. So that's him there. Unfortunately, he died. His girlfriend spoke to him. He was a Mormon. He was training to be a doctor. Had his whole life, and now all there is a plaque. So they blew the cave, the tunnel where he was, and then they cemented the entrance of the cave, and so you can no longer get into this cave at all. But the whole moral of it is don't get yourself in a place where you can't get out of. And I mention that here because the protagonist, which is controlling the drone, which is us, evidently knows something's amiss here and has already. We've not come across anything, but there might have been rumors or something, but we've sent a drone down. We're not putting ourselves in a situation where we can't get out of, and that becomes sort of really pronounced later on. So here's the body that we were supposed to find. As you can see, he's got a shoe missing, so it's definitely him. And as you can see, he's being killed by an agitated crystal. So basically the core forms up a crystal above and drops it on a suspecting person. That's all done by the core. And so the core is already terraforming. Now in the Gemini Home Entertainment, that video goes down to about 165, where the gardeners or the wood crawlers take the camera, and so we're down the area where wood crawlers and gardeners would be. And we found the missing person. Now we're given text. Discovery. After testing the cave crawler for approximately 4 hours, it was able to locate the missing hiker's body in a cave containing a crystalline structure. After further study, RMG discovered the crystals are a highly dense energy source rivaling the output of current-day nuclear energy sources. And we know that to be the case because it's of alien material. After discovering a new potential fuel source, RMG required deeper exploration to locate additional crystal deposits for further testing. The following footage was collected by the cave crawler 22 hours after a major cave-in trapped RMG mining personnel within the cave. So we're still about 1992. As you can see, the cave crawler looks like a bomb disposal unit more than anything, but now we get a picture of what we look like. I don't know if this game is set before the advanced mining video in Gemini Home Entertainment, but as you can see, we're supposed to find 3 bodies now. Now if you go forward, you'll hit an invisible trigger box which is designed to make the silhouette anomaly disappear, but because we've already run into it, now scanning the entrance will actually... So this is a different cave, maybe, and not the same one. Or maybe it is the same one, I'm not sure. But now we see the silhouette puppet. So this is a silhouette puppet. It can't disappear because we've already run into the trigger box. But as you can see, it doesn't hurt us, it can't think. Now, my guess, and this is what other people have stated as well, is that this is a mold being created so that, and as you can see, we've got 4-3, and it contains the core being a puppet, but it might still contain the consciousness of not just one miner, but maybe even several miners. as the core is a bit of a hive mind mentality with the wood crawlers and the gardeners and everything else. And oh, hello. What comes to us backwards? Hang on. Are you holding something, or are you just happy to see me? What the heck? That's creepy. What? Alright, that's creeping me out. There's no jump scares in this game, but that's more creepier than anything. That's creepier than it just disappearing. Okay. Yeah. A rude silhouette puppet who's suffering with Huntington's disease or Parkinson's. Okay. Right. Well, I honestly didn't know that. There you go. I just kind of always walked through it, but I knew you can trigger it. And I've never seen any other video show that silhouette puppet up close. So I believe this is the first video that really shows that. So if you scan the various equipments, you don't need to scan. You can just run and find the bodies, and you can finish this game in like 10 minutes if you want to. Speed run. Now, in the timeline scale of things, in the Gemini Home Entertainment, we know that the Crusader 5 probe, I think in about 1993, vanishes inside the Iris planet, and then the Iris planet comes back in 1994, I think, with the Crusader 5, and we don't know what happens to the Earth. We know the Iris is heading towards the Earth. It is possible that the gardeners are getting it ready for the Iris to come inside, because the way this thing attacks, and the gardeners and the wood crawlers, they attack everything from inside out. And this is how the Iris has destroyed other planets and moons and mutated them in the past. And it seems to be that's what its plan for Earth is as well. Once you've scanned it or something, if you haven't scanned it before, it turns yellow. Now, interestingly, it might need biological tissue like hats and footwear and bags are left. So everything might need a biological tissue. Now we can see there's a body up here as well. What happens with the body, we don't know what takes the body. So is it a silhouette puppet taking the body, or is it a wood crawler? Is it a gardener? We don't know. We can't really see at this point, but something takes the body in any case. As I said, there are sounds in the background that are very, very similar to the web series. We see a cave-in. Now, if the Iris has implanted itself deep inside the Earth, it is possible that that's what's causing a lot of the cave-ins as well. And it might be using the Earth as a shell, I guess. So there's another motion detection. As you see on the left there, we now have 3 letters, O, C, E, and that's a hexadecimal code. So we've only got 2 more motion detections to find, and then we'll have the secret ending. The other thing that, even though the silhouette puppets, they're not exactly fake men, they might be molds that are some sort of biological transmogrification happening, so that the celestial beings on another planet can be sort of copied onto the molds here for them to live, which is an interesting way of space travel, if that's the case. As you can see, so all the big rock fall-ins and cave-ins that are happening of recent is around about the same time that either some creature called the core is getting it ready for the Iris, or the Iris might already be here, but I don't think it is here yet. I don't know. Maybe it's still getting this cave system is still being terraformed for it. So as you can see here, you see the sort of what's similar to the root disease. We've got some sort of mineral disease happening here, and it forms crystals very quickly, and they're forming through the body. And we're now at 396 depth meters. So that was level 2, harvesting. After searching for 2 hours, the cave crawler was only able to locate the bodies of 3 of the miners still intact, alongside personnel equipment of the remaining 12. Upon further examination, the recovered bodies provided important medical data on the crystalline structures. Beginning as small spores, once contact has been made with a form of biological material, the crystals will begin to grow by converting the biological matter into energy. After implantation, small crystalline formations appearing within 24 hours, with crystals reaching full maturity after 48 hours. Beginning at 0800 hours, seismic detectors registered a slow build-up in vibrations deep within RMG pit. After 2 localized seismic events, contact was lost with the feeding team at 0900 hours. The cave crawler was deployed to locate the missing team members. So here and again this reiterates the whole not going beyond, not putting yourself in a situation where you can't get out of. So here we're given bodies that are prepared to be implanted, and they're mummified. We'll soon see a bit more just scanning out the back here. And you'll notice there's spores that are happening all over the place. If you breathe in a spore, you're dead, basically. And you also see these tendril type of things appearing all over the place, which could be a warning system for the core. Because we're a drone, we're not biological, so it might not be able to detect us. But here we have a sign that's been legally mandated by a biohazard. So now if we scan this, so technically the 5 members of the feeding team, this cloth allows for the bodies to breathe. Now, I wasn't sure if that meant the decay inside is breathing through the mummification because the fabric allows it, or if the people were actually alive in there. But if you scan this, you find out the people are actually breathing live. They're not moving, so they're probably sedated, but they are breathing in the spores through that mummified cloth, and they're being prepared to be implanted with these spores, which will ultimately cause these crystalline structures to grow throughout their bodies. And so even in level 2 where we saw, ultimately the feeding team needed to wear gas masks and things like that, but it doesn't look like it was forced. And so even the feeding team eventually succumbed to the disease. They probably did not know what was really going on here, and they were sacrificed. The person operating this drone knows exactly what's going on. So again, this person who we are is not putting themselves in a situation where they can't get out, which is really messed up. Ultimately, it's all about grabbing this fuel source. Now, we can actually see the tendrils coming through, which are sort of reminiscent of wood crawlers or gardeners might be happening here as well. But you can see all these large crystalline structures. They may actually be because, as you saw, they kind of brought the mummified corpses three at a time. So the other 2 crystalline structures might have already been mummified corpses, and within 48 hours they have become full crystalline structures. And another thing you'll notice is there's no biological material anymore. It actually just refers to them I think here in this level it refers to them as crystals. We'll see a section here where we'll actually see one of the silhouette people growing out of this black substance. Alien substance, we don't know, but it seems to be coming. So there's one of the persons here. What does it say? You found a crystal. So all the biological stuff, we know it was a person, but it's already turned fully crystal. And if we scan this, again, we've already walked into the, you can see one of the silhouette people are coming through the unknown liquid. So this alien liquid, which biologically transforms the cells, and a mold is coming out of that substance. And expected, I think a alien consciousness is going to be forced into that mold. At the moment it's just now I'm not sure why it says a mistake was made up there. I don't get that whatsoever. That's the only thing I don't get about the whole game. If you understand that principle, please leave a comment in the leave a message in the comments and explain what you think that mistake was. We're about to come across an agitated crystal now, so this is the very thing that killed the first missing body that we came across, and you'll see what sets it off, we don't know. It seems to be maybe something stepped on the one of the tendrils, and bang, it came smashing down like that. So it kind of maybe just a defense mechanism. And so even as a drone, even though we're not a biological, anything biological, we still have to be careful. And as you see, this pit is huge. It may have been prepared by the gardeners for quite some time. Now, as I said, I'm not sure if this game, since it could be part of an alternate universe. There's a body there. I'm not sure if this comes after the advanced mining video in the Gemini Home Entertainment, or if it's before, but it's around that time. We know it's definitely inspired by that. And since Remy Abode is the collector of all these videos that have come from an alternate universe where an ill-fated Earth has succumbed to the attacks of the Iris, planet-sized biological monster, which says in itself that there's other alternate universes. So this cave crawler could be another alternate universe, very similar to the one in Gemini Home Entertainment, or it might even be directly linked into that. We don't know. But at least it's definitely inspired, and I will point that out later on at the end of the video as well. So we found 4 of the motion detections. Now there's a body on the left here that's sometimes very well hidden and hard for some people to find. Sorry, the controls are a bit dicky too, because I'm using the arrow keys and the WASD keys at the same time. And sometimes using the cursor. So there's a body behind there. And as I said, there's no biological unit anymore. It's all gone. So that's within 48 hours. Now you saw that move as well. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's... I'm guessing there's no consciousness left of the person, and it might be like the woodcrawler, which steals the people's voices. It might steal their thoughts or their personality and mimic the personality somewhat. It seems that the silhouette people are shy. They're not confrontational, very rarely, except for the one that seemed to have a hard-on for us. Now here's an interesting part, is that look closely, the helmet is looking at the crystal, the guy that's turned into a crystal, and the shadow in the background is portraying a silhouette puppet. But also what's interesting is there's about 3 or 4, even more there. Yeah, there's 3, I can count 3, no, 4, I can count 4. Yeah, there's 4 mummified corpses there, and only one's turned at the moment. So one of my theories is that the core, and you see that puddle nearby, which seems to indicate the black goo needs to be close by for a silhouette puppet to be formed by the core. But I also think that living tissue, living organisms need to be very close for it to there's our last motion detection, and so we have OCEAN, which means ocean. And if I cut to, so that's a hexadecimal code, that's what we've seen. We some people, because they think it might be part of the like a prequel to the Iron Lung, it's possible, because where Gemini Home Entertainment finishes off is basically just finishes off with it coming to Earth, and we know there's no good news for the Earth. Iron Lung seems to be the Earth is destroyed already from that. So some think, even though there's no explicit by the creators of either franchise that is the case, some point out that it could well truly be the case. And we've got our last person to find. So and this person's really hidden well inside the rock structure, which is very similar to nature's mockery. People can be really well hidden in nature's mockery. Federal law provides severe civil and criminal penalties for unauthorized reproduction, distribution, or exhibition of motion picture videotapes or video discs copyright. The following footage is for internal use only. Unauthorized use may result in major fines and or a penalty of up to 65 years in prison. So we have UFO 1. The following footage was collected from Rockwell Mining Group after the results of agents in investigation into the origin of the earthquake RMG was merely subpoenaed for further documentation regarding records of the mining site. And then they have this big where media came in. Now that might have been the media of the iris coming to Earth, and the iris might be already deep inside. So this might be around 1994 onwards. We don't have a timestamp for this one. Now you see the orange letters up the top? That means find the core. And when we actually come across the eyeball, that is the core. It says we found the core. So the yellow lettering underneath isn't the core. So there we have Stephen from the village that we saw up above. He's now turned into a crystal already. So as I said, the ocean is, with the secret second page of text, there is an ocean in that as well, which seems to refer to that there's a triumvirate relationship of activity going on the planet. And that was Mary. She has been turned into a nuclear crystal. Jack. So it's interesting that the humans might be sought after for a fuel source of some sort for the iris. In the Gemini Home Entertainment, it's actually even hinted that salt attracts the wood crawlers and the gardeners, and we know deep underground there's a lot of salt in the Mariana Trench. There's salt. So it might be that is also what they're after. Farming salt at the same time as well, or it might be an important product. We've got Abigail. She's turned into a crystal. The other thing that people have pointed out is that a lot of wood crawler activity and the gardener activity and the deep underground happens late at night. So they might be actually allergic to the UV light from the sun, because Iris actually hides behind the planet Neptune as well. Unknown organic mass detected. Again, seems to be the Iris is biologically transforming the Earth from the inside out. And when we come across wood crawlers, they give you the deep root disease, which also we know they can also steal bodies and wear your skin as shell, I guess. And skinwalker, and you got fake people, which often mimics the voice of the humans that have taken over, and use those voices to attract others. As we know, once they've put a foreign object into you, which is a root, that's kind of the end of you, basically. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's similar to the crystal here. This whole alien race, this alien being, the Iris, attacks everything. And here we have multiple bodies detected. Again, similar to the hive mind, we know that more than one person can be inside a creature. Like in the Gemini Home Entertainment, there's a reanimated bear, and there's quite a lot of people inside the reanimated bear. They're absorbed until there's nothing left of them. And here we have, it looks like it's transforming the planet inside, and the inside of the planet is slowly eating the outside of the planet. Then we have Carlos. So, as I said, the people that go around and say, oh, it's just the souls of the rock mining group. No. And that doesn't even give it justice. There's so much more to this game. And they're really trying to add to the lore of the Gemini Home Entertainment series. They might be trying to do an alternate universe of the Gemini Home Entertainment series. Now here we have William Fogarty, who is one of the developers, or I think he was the programmer. Mario Lastro, which is the actual developer. And I think that one did the sound. So, unfortunately, the Iris has got to them, and they're no longer. So you can see what are we, 914. So this is the deepest that I think this series has gone. No, the Mariana Trench. So the Mariana Trench, I think there's a video called The Deep Blue. Remy Abode deleted it from the series. As I said, there's about 20 videos if you count The Deep Blue. But you can still see it as archival, but you got to type it in direct. And that had a few mistakes, and it had copyright music, so it was deleted. And I guess the mining video had everything that Mariana Trench video, Deep Blue, had anyway, so it was never brought back into. And now we have the Iris, maybe. Anyway, you can see that the core has been found. Conclusion. Upon further investigation of the provided materials and under the order of the current Director of Homeland Security, RMG has been contracted to continue study of the caves under the direct supervision of a doctor. Here we have so that's the ending. That's the single page text that you'll get. Now we're going to go to the special ending, which is another page of text because we found the 5 motion detections. Please return the tape before returning it to filming. Now, also, Homeland Security is contracting the RMG group. So this is the special ending. Following the conclusion of the internal reports of similar geological incidents have been received from these monitoring stations, and then you're given several coordinates. Now, as instructed by Dr. Monto, survey crews have been dispatched to all locations to further investigation, which hints that there's going to be continuation. But it's been 3 years now, and there's been nothing. So the coordinates are basically Alaska, Florida, and the Atlantic Ocean. So this might be what the yellow writing is referring to, this area here, which seems to indicate some sort of triumvirate relationship going on with the core, maybe. So that's simplifying everything. Now, this is Technomancy Studios webpage, and they don't have actually Cave Crawler on their webpage, which I don't know why, but because they haven't put it on there for 3 years, I really doubt there's going to be a continuation. They've basically just gone on to Gamma 19 and Suits. Is the 2 game, and Kitsune Kitchen are the games that they're actually referring to. Now, this is a comic. Oh no, this is the blog, and they just talk about, and this is a comic they've got. So they've done other things to expand the universe of their other games, but they've done nothing about their. So they're from Tampa, Florida, but they've done nothing to expand the lore of Cave Crawler in the last 3 years. So this is Mario Lustra, Tampa, Florida, United States. Basically, it's an indie dev, and this is what he looks like when he made the game. So this is how he looked. And unfortunately, this is what he looks like now, according to the game. Sorry, couldn't resist that. I thought it was funny. So as I said, Gemini Home Entertainment. Once you've seen Gemini Home Entertainment, which is a horror web series, it's impossible to ignore. So in Gemini Home Entertainment, the robot is called ROCT, and it's from NAMAD. We don't know if the game that we've just played is before or after. Gemini Home Entertainment is an organisation that holds onto a collection of tapes and other materials covering various topics, and created also the Lethal Omen video game. They have archived many of their VH tapes from various organisations into documenting the presence of the Iris orbiting just behind Neptune, introducing wood crawlers and other things into the Earth, plague ravaging humanity, bringing nature's mockery, skinwalkers, and fake people, which is all part of the metamorphosing or process of a wood crawler. All the tapes are credited to Remy Abode, who is a YouTube creator, who probably claims that he got this from an alternate universe where Earth has been ill-fated to succumb to the Iris invasion. So this is the web series. So look this up. 371,000 subscribers. There's 18 videos. Plus there's, as I said, Deep Blue. Look for that. So Advanced Mining Vehicle, NAMAD presents the future of mining technology with a short video demonstrating what the remote operated compact tunneler can do, noting that it does not need a human to operate. The ROCT continues drilling downwards as text appears to explain its various features. At the depth of 145 meters, it comes across a strange tendril structure and examines it. The video feed cuts off and text reading blood pumps through the garden's veins, the crops mature appears. The ROCT continues its expedition, encountering two strange creatures known as gardeners, before falling rapidly and having its video feed completely cut off by an unknown depth, with the last log depth entry being 579, presumably meters. We went a lot deeper, and so this is the video that you need to watch. I'll put this in the description so that you can have a look at it after you finished watching this. And so this is the game that we've played, Cave Crawler. You can see the logo, and people are saying it's very similar to the logo NAMAD, which is on. So did the Homeland Security contract give us enough money to create a better program, a better drone afterwards? May have been the case, and that's why we used a drone at the very beginning, because we really knew what was going on. So it'll be interesting to find out who the protagonist is. Yeah, as I said, Homeland Security, RMG has been contracted. So was this before this game, before or after? Now this is the Iris. Basically, it's got 5 moons, mutated moons. It appeared in our solar system, unknown when it appeared. And it was visited in 1993 by a Crusader probe. And basically it ended up coming. It is possibly the origin of the woodcrawlers, nature's mockery, and perhaps skinwalkers by either sending them back with the probe or by influencing the Marianas Trench. In the ending of Lethal Omen, the Iris visits the Earth directly and presumably destroys it, and might be from the inside out, as I said. The Iris is a giant eye watching over other planets, particularly Earth. The Iris has mutated Neptune and is stated in our solar system. So this is the monster of that web series, and that's what predominantly the game is all about. So yeah. Now, the Gemini Home Entertainment series, some people believe it's a prequel to the Iron Lung game. So Cave Crawler is a prequel to the Advanced Mining video in the Gemini Home Entertainment series, or maybe prequel or sequel. And the Gemini Home Entertainment series may be a prequel to the Iron Lung series. So I asked the AI if that was the case, and so this is the Iron Lung, which was created in 2022. I recommend this game also. Check it out. It's pretty scary. You have to navigate a submarine and investigate an ocean of blood. The AI said Gemini Home Entertainment and Iron Lung are not explicitly stated to be in the same universe. However, some theories suggest they might be. This is a game called Cave Crawler about the
Since
Nutty
announcing
Putty
the game
game.
recreation of Nutty Putty, we've gotten many questions about how closely the map matches the real cave. So here's how we built it, and why you can trust its accuracy. We brought in Brandon Kowallis, who had been there many times, an experienced explorer, cartographer, photographer, rescuer, and the author of the cave's official map, reproduced in the game. He provided all the data we needed to nail the details. We also used publicly available photos, first-hand accounts, and documents describing both the layout and the feel of the cave. We even tuned the moisture visible in your flashlight beam to heighten realism. Now the cave's yours to explore.
So basically that was a Nutty Putty Cave, which no human can go down to anymore, but they used the data that was already collected and recreated it for a game. And you have the person who actually tried the rescue operation go through that. So I also recommend that game as well if you want a really claustrophobic cave exploration experience. You got to find 10 audio tapes and just 100% explore the cave. That's exciting. Anyway, that's it. Until next time. Bye for now.